I want to take a moment to recognize the 3 officers we lost. Sergeant Cody Becker.
He was just always a helper.
Detective Mark Baker.
He's a hero to our family and now to everyone in York County.
And Detective Isaiah Emmenheiser.
Next to God and his wife and kids, the community and his career, that was his life.
Job well done. Mission well served.
Welcome to News 8's special coverage honoring the fallen as we remember the 3 York County police officers killed in the line of duty. I'm Caitlin Smith.
I'm Matt Barcaro. Hundreds of people are expected to pay their respects today to the 3 officers from the Northern York County Regional Police Department, Detective Mark Baker, Detective Sergeant Cody Becker, and Detective Isaiah Emmenheiser. They were killed last week while serving a search warrant in North Codorus Township.
The procession along Cape Horn Road from the funeral home to the memorial service at the Living Word Community Church in York Township is about to start, and we do have a team of News 8 reporters along that procession route to be with you each step of the way. We do begin with Susan Shapiro. She is live at that church. Susan.
This gray, dreary day is much like the mood here, very serious and somber. Hundreds of police officers from all over Pennsylvania and beyond are already here and already in the Living Word Community Church, known as Living Word. I took a walk around this parking lot. I saw cars from Lancaster County, York County, Dauphin County, Lycoming County, Maryland, and Delaware. They are all here to pay honor and tribute to those 3 officers from Northern York County Regional Police killed in that ambush last week. Northern York County Regional Police Chief Dave Lash is one of the speakers. We have now received the service that will take place here. Also, Corporal Andy Miller and Corporal Steve Lebo will pay tribute to those officers. We'll also hear a musical tribute and words of remembrance from Chief Mark Bensel. He was a longtime chief at Northern York County Regional Police and is now serving in New Holland, Lancaster County. I spoke with him earlier this week. He didn't want to say very much at that point. He is obviously very upset and said, of course, he knew all of these officers and probably hired many of those officers. He was there for many years. As I said, this parking lot is filled. This church is the same church where they held a service for Officer Andrew Duarte, who was killed at the UPMC shooting in February. So it is certainly a familiar sight here and not one that many of these people want to see. As I said, hundreds. There's just a sea of blue everywhere you look. I took a look around the back of the building and you see officers lined up, as I said.
The outpouring of community support that we have seen over the last week, be it flowers or notes or just people getting together to grieve together, but definitely it has affected the community as a whole, this being the 2nd line of duty death just in York County this year.
Yeah, we had West York Borough Officer Andrew Duarte, who was killed in February during the UPMC memorial shooting. And I know he is also on the minds of many as we see a similar procession, the funeral at this same church that his was. It's just a really tough day for that entire community and the entire Susquehanna Valley.
A lot to process, and that's what everyone is doing together.
Yeah, guys, they're stepping off right now as we speak. That procession is beginning here at the funeral home at Wagner Elfner in Berg, where they are headed to Living Word Community Church. We have tons of officers here. Of course, we have state police. We have Northern York County Regional Police. They are all getting ready to lead that procession to Living Word Community Church. They're stepping off here now.
Let's go out to Sarah Metz now, where the procession is continuing to be by her. She is at Route 24 and Edgewood Avenue. Sarah.
Yeah, Caitlin and Matt, just like you said, I am on North Main Street right now and West Edgewood Avenue. As you can see, we have those officers moving by. The motorcade is starting to go by us at this very moment. We are still waiting for the hearse to make their way down this road. This is again North Main Street. I do want to also talk about some of the officers that I'm seeing. Lower Makefield, Ben Salem, Newtown, Upper Darby. We have officers from Philadelphia also down here supporting our fallen officers. Camden County, we have these ones coming from Lancaster, Nassau County. All of these from all over the state to support our York County community. We also just saw some Maryland troopers go by as well. Again, this is coming right before those bodies are going to pass us. All right, Caitlin and Matt, as you can see, we just had all three detectives go by us on North Main Street. I'm going to send it back to you guys at the desk.
Sarah, powerful images there. We hear so often about how law enforcement looks after each other. We've heard that over the last week in many of the news conferences from police. Even the first night, hours after the shooting, the state police commissioner said, the grief will be unbearable, but we will bear it. And this is one way that law enforcement bears it, by being together and coming from near and far to support one another in the worst of days.
Let's go out to Jacob Hunsaker because the procession is about to come by him. He is joining us from 24th and Lombard Avenue. Jacob.
Yeah, Matt, Caitlin, good morning to both of you. We're right at that middle point of the procession, which, as you can see behind me, we're really getting to that spot where they are getting to us, and I'm just blown away at the number of officers that, like Sarah had just mentioned, we've seen from all over the entire northeastern part of the country. I was expecting to see people from just around our community, but I did speak to one officer from Camden County in New Jersey, and I asked, what made you come so far? And all he said to me was, we might not have known them, we might not have been close with them, but they are still our brothers in blue. And that's enough reason for us to be here and show our support. And just seeing the number of people here in this community that are a part of that didn't know these officers, these detectives. You can see a number of these little kids that are right here that are just showing their support, right next to officers, of course, that are saluting as well.
And you see, Jacob, just how much of a community loss this is, how the community grief, kind of comes together in moments like this. But we also can't forget the personal loss for the families of these men, all three of them fathers. Mark Baker, father of 5, Cody Becker and Isaiah Emmenheiser, fathers of 2, leaving behind children and families.
And not just their own children, but the impact that they've had on so many other children, from scouts to young athletes, and how they have inspired them and will continue to do so even following this. Jacob, thank you for that. And we want to go out to Susan Shapiro, who is standing by at the Living Word Community Church, again, where the funeral will be held. Susan?
We often hear that law enforcement is a brotherhood, and today we are seeing those brothers and sisters come together to support each other and hold one another up. I just spoke with a state trooper who used to work in Lancaster County, and he told me it's sad when we have to come together like this, and it's sad that this keeps happening in our country. There are expected to be hundreds of people inside that church. It holds about 1,500 in the auditorium and another 1,500 in a secondary room. So this will definitely be a long service and a somber service, that's for sure. And I know it will end with that last call for these 3 officers. Back to you.
We're told at a news conference with state police and with the chief that even Susan was mentioning there as we look overhead at this procession that they had saved 2 lives that day that this happened, and that they also had saved lives in the past. Even here on WGAL in 2010, we had covered a story of one of them saving a family from a fire. Another one in his obituary talks about the lives that he has saved over their long careers, as Susan was just mentioning, combined many years of serving our community, and just what they have done will leave a lasting impact on all of us. And I think you see that with the community coming out to say thank you and to pay their respects today.
And you have to imagine that this helps the families kind of process this, to see this outpouring of support. Let's go back to Susan, because the procession is now arriving at the church where the funeral service will be.
We are seeing the start of that procession. As you can see, motorcycles are leading that procession with their lights flashing, headed into the parking lot of the Living Word Community Church here in Red Lion. There are a lot of motorcycles, as you can see, dozens of them. And that will be followed by the 3 hearses of the officers who were killed in that ambush last week. Not far from here. This all happened in a, pretty small vicinity here in York County. As you can see, those motorcycles are still coming. As I said, the officers who were gathered outside have now gone inside the church to await the start of this service at noon, where we will hear those 3 officers being honored, and we will hear a lot of tributes to them.
Seeing all this, I come back to what the York County DA said last week when all of this was still developing. He was talking about how it's been a really difficult year for law enforcement in York County, and he said it can seem very, very dark and dire, and you begin to lose faith and hope. But then he told the story of seeing all the people from the community line the streets from the scene of the shooting to the coroner's office, and he said, I think there's the light.
And in this same shooting that took the lives of those 3 officers, there was also another Northern York County Regional Police officer who was hurt and is in the hospital, and also York County Sheriff's Deputy Lieutenant David Godfrey, who were both listed at last check in satisfactory condition. So if you, like they, perhaps not able to attend, obviously, this procession and the funeral, thank you for joining us here and watching it. And I hope the takeaway was that our community cares, and we come out in full force to pay respects.
You know it. And the procession now winding down. The funeral service is set to start at noon. Public attendance is not allowed for the actual funeral, but the church is providing a live stream to us, and we will be showing the live stream of the funeral service in its entirety. So you can come back here to WJL at noon, and we will be airing the funeral service and have continued coverage of this throughout the day.